Right now, somewhere, someone is wearing an $80 smartwatch, and somewhere else, someone just dropped 800 bucks on one. Both watches tell the time, both count steps, both buzz when a text comes in. So what is that other $720 actually buying you? Stick with me, because we're answering that today. 5 smartwatches, bargain all the way up to the one athletes wear into actual wilderness. But that's only half this video, because the same device tracking your heart rate right now 24/7, it's also part of an industry with recalls, lawsuits, a company that got hacked and quietly paid off the hackers, and a counterfeit problem so bad, fake batteries are ending up strapped directly to people's skin. Let's get you geared up first. Then let's get into what these companies really don't want printed on the box. We start at the bottom, the Amazfit Bip 6, $80, and here's the part that should surprise you. It doesn't feel like an $80 watch. Bright AMOLED screen, built-in GPS with offline maps, a feature that not long ago you'd have paid $200 minimum to get. Battery life stretching up to 14 days. It's tracking your heart rate, your blood oxygen, your sleep, your stress around the clock, and it's throwing in over 140 workout modes on top. Is it going to go stride for stride with a premium watch? No. Nobody's pretending it will. But think about what it means that an $80 watch now does offline mapping in 2 weeks of battery. A few years ago, that spec sheet cost 3 times as much. That's not a small shift. One step up, and you land on the Amazfit Active 2 somewhere between $100 and $130. And this is where it starts getting genuinely impressive. Full offline mapping again, but now paired with the ability to plug in an external heart rate sensor, which is basically unheard of at this price. Now, to be fair, the built-in heart rate sensor still lags behind the premium tier, and the software can feel a little sluggish under heavier use. But if your budget's tight and you still want real fitness tracking, not just phone notifications on your wrist, this is your landing spot. From there, most people actually end up in the next tier, and it's crowded. Garmin Forerunner 165, Apple Watch SE 3, Samsung Galaxy Watch 8, somewhere around $150 to $250. The Forerunner 165 in particular has become the go-to affordable Garmin AMOLED touchscreen, 11-day battery, and real coaching tools like Garmin Coach and a morning report that used to be locked behind Garmin's $400 flagship. So if you're not married to Apple or Android specifically, and you just want a watch that takes training seriously without a top-tier price tag, this is it. You're not paying for a shinier screen anymore. You're paying for actual training software. Keep climbing, and you're in ecosystem territory. Apple Watch Series 11 if you're on iPhone, Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra if you're on Android, call it $350 to $450. And yes, the Galaxy Watch Ultra borrows so heavily from Apple's Ultra design that some reviewers straight up call it comically similar. But it earns its spot. Accurate dual frequency GPS, full water resistance rated to 100 meters, and sports tracking deep enough to chain multiple workouts together in one session. At this level, you're not buying basic fitness tracking anymore, you're buying precision. Reliable GPS off-trail. Health sensors you can actually trust. A device that talks to the rest of your life without any friction. And then at the very top, $800 and up, there's the Apple Watch Ultra 3 titanium body, satellite communication for when you are completely, genuinely off the grid, a battery that lasts 72 hours, precision GPS built for people pushing real physical limits, ultra marathoners, mountaineers, open water swimmers who need this thing to keep working when nothing else around them does. This isn't a watch for checking texts at your desk. This is a watch built to potentially save your life, miles from the nearest cell tower. And that's actually a perfect place to pause, because wearable tech genuinely has saved lives. Fall detection, irregular heart rhythm alerts, satellite SOS, these are real documented wins, not marketing fluff. The pace of innovation in this category over just the last few years is honestly wild too. Features that used to be locked to $800 flagship watches, offline GPS, dual frequency positioning, week-long battery, real health sensors, have trickled all the way down to $80 watches. That is not normal for consumer tech. Usually the cheap tier stays cheap forever. Here, brand-on-brand competition has actually dragged the entire bottom of the market upward fast. And the health side isn't just a spec sheet flex either. Fall detection has triggered real emergency calls for people who physically couldn't reach a phone. Irregular heart rhythm alerts have caught undiagnosed conditions in wearers who had no idea anything was wrong. Satellite SOS has helped locate people stranded completely outside cell coverage. When this technology works the way it's supposed to, it does real good in people's actual lives, which is exactly why what's coming next stings a little more, because this same category has a documented habit of finding out about a safety problem and sitting on it. In 2022, Fitbit recalled 1.7 million Ionic smartwatches after the lithium-ion battery started overheating right on people's wrists. At least 115 reports of overheating. 78 of those turned into actual burns, including 2 third-degree burns and 4 second-degree burns. Already bad. Here's the part that makes it worse. Fitbit had been getting these complaints since 2018. In 2020, they pushed a firmware update, hoping that would fix it. It didn't. The burns kept coming in, and Fitbit still didn't formally report the hazard to federal regulators for years. In early 2025, the Consumer Product Safety Commission fined Fitbit $12.25 million, specifically for sitting on a defect they already knew could seriously injure people. And the story didn't end at the recall. 2 women later sued Google, Fitbit's parent company, arguing the recall didn't go far enough, that other Fitbit models, ones never recalled, were causing the exact same burns. Now let's talk about what happens when the watch actually works fine, because your data doesn't stop being a problem just because your skin's okay. In 2025, Whoop, the subscription tracker that runs up to $359 a year, got hit with a class action lawsuit alleging it shared sensitive health data, heart rate, sleep, stress levels, even reproductive health information with a third-party tracker without real user consent. And here's the part that should genuinely bother you. HIPAA, the law most Americans assume protects all their medical information, doesn't apply to Whoop or Fitbit or Garmin at all. It only covers hospitals and insurance companies. The heart rate data sitting on your wrist right now has fewer legal protections than a note your doctor scribbles on a paper chart. One security research group reviewed 10 major wearable brands in 2026 and found that only Apple actually encrypts your health data end to end, meaning not even Apple itself can read it. Garmin, Google, Oura, Whoop, Polar, Amazfit, none of them offer that, which means for most people wearing a smartwatch right now, their health data sits in a format their own watch company can hand over, fully readable the second a subpoena lands on their desk. And if you think that's rock bottom, it's not even close, because now we get into ransomware and straight up fraud. In 2020, Garmin got hit with a ransomware attack that knocked its entire Garmin Connect service offline for 5 days. Millions of users locked out, couldn't sync a single watch. Garmin reportedly paid the attackers roughly $10 million just to get their own systems back. The company maintained no user data was actually compromised. Users weren't fully buying it, and in 2025, Garmin agreed to a $10.5 million class action settlement for people whose data may have been exposed during that outage. Here's where this stops being a corporate headline and starts coming for you directly. Counterfeit smartwatches are a genuine billion-dollar underground industry at this point. U.S. Customs and Border Protection has seized shipments of fake Apple Watches worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in a single bust, deliberately mislabeled as generic headphones just to slip past inspection. And these aren't harmless cosmetic knockoffs. Security researchers have found counterfeit smartwatches running substandard, poorly regulated batteries, real fire and explosion risk sitting directly against your skin. Some of them are collecting your personal data with zero encryption, which means a fake watch you bought to save $100 could be actively harvesting your information the entire time it's on your arm. And this isn't confined to sketchy websites anymore. There's a documented pattern of people buying what looks like a brand new Apple Watch, straight from Target, Walmart, Costco, real stores, opening the box and finding a convincing fake staring back at them. Here's how it works. Someone buys the genuine watch, swaps it for a counterfeit, reseals the box using the original packaging, and returns it like nothing happened. Store employees glance at the box, glance at the receipt, and move on. They almost never check the actual serial number against Apple's own records. This scam has been running for years, quietly, mostly because it's nearly invisible at the return counter, which means even doing everything right, buying from a real store, skipping the sketchy online ad entirely, isn't the safety net you'd assume it is anymore. So here's where that leaves you, standing in front of the display case. Smartwatch technology has genuinely improved at every single price point, and an $80 watch today can do things that needed a $400 watch just a few years ago. You do not need to spend a fortune to get real, useful health tracking on your wrist, but that watch isn't only tracking your steps. It's collecting some of the most sensitive information about you that exists: your heart, your sleep, your location, sometimes even your reproductive health, and where that data actually goes depends entirely on which company built the watch and how seriously they take protecting it. Check your privacy settings. Turn off the sharing you don't need. And if you're buying from anywhere other than the manufacturer or an authorized retailer, check that serial number before it ever touches your wrist. Whichever tier you land on, you're strapping on one of the fastest moving categories in consumer tech right now: real innovation, a safety record worth taking seriously, and a handful of scandals these companies would very much prefer stayed buried under the marketing copy.